Hello, I'm Mrs. Sayala, and I'll be showcasing a video game website I made called Wish. I linked it in the description down below, and I strongly recommend that you check it out before you watch this video. I say that because this website functions differently between mobile and desktop, and I like to showcase some of that. I want to make it clear that this is not a real video game. I wish it was. This video would be so much more different. Anyways, this was a project I created for Advanced Interactivity and Graphics, or GRA 202 if you want to be specific. For the assignment, we had to revisit an older site and make it so it fits better on a tablet display. I made a video game website last semester, but to be honest, it sucked. I didn't have the experience that I do now, and well, the code was all over the place. But it did make me ask, how can I give a website more character? And even though I had to recode a previous website, I decided to start from scratch, and I like to thank my Professor Burr for letting me do that. She's really generous. And these lights are killing me, so I'm gonna get started. Wish is a story about the 5 stages of grief and what it really means to mourn the loss of someone. Ultimately, you'll always grow as a person each step of the way, but if you're granted a wish to bring anyone back, would you actually take it? In this platformer, the lonely wanderer makes it a mission to discover what happened in society, and is faced with a decision at the end of the game. The first program I used was Photoshop. I used it to create all the pixel art in this game. I also used it to upscale every image, which I figured out way later than I should have. Whoops. Here you can see how the canvas is set up. I usually don't work with the grid enabled, but with pixel art it's kind of a necessity. In the game, the main character uses a bow and arrow called the Monoceros, which fell from the sky in the form of a shooting star. It probably wasn't obvious to everyone at first, but the logo is supposed to represent the shape of the Monoceros and the star that it came from. I thought it was kind of clever. Also, it's a small detail, but the Monoceros constellation can actually be seen on the game cover. It's also missing a star. And that's all for Photoshop. I just mainly used it for the artwork, and if you find Photoshop to be too expensive, you could always use your phone. Honestly, just using your own images works just as fine. The second program I used was Bootstrap Studio, and it's great for building web pages. It comes with a lot of pre-built components and preset templates if you're not sure where to start. I found it really scary at first, but after a while I got used to it and it's really not too bad. Of course, you can still edit the code at the bottom here, which I prefer. I won't be able to show you all the code, but I'll show you the most important part, media queries. A media query is a technique that allows the user to customize the appearance of a website for multiple devices. For example, here you can see I have 2 blocks of code. They both use the background image line, except one uses a media query. You can see that the minimum width is set to 768 pixels. That means that any screen size below that will change the background image. If you're using Google Chrome on a desktop right now, you can actually see this effect in real time. By pressing Ctrl-Shift-I, you'll open up this monstrosity. By clicking and dragging here, you can change the resolution of the page. Go far enough to the left and you'll see where the breakpoint ends. See? The background image changed. So do the columns. A big inspiration came from old school 8-bit games, specifically Mega Man 2. I love Mega Man. Just the music is beautiful, it's so memorable, and it really inspired me to make my own soundtrack for Wish. Of course, nowadays we're not really limited to only using 4 audio channels like an NES did, so I had a lot more freedom to do what I wanted. But if it's your cup of tea, feel free to listen on the soundtrack page. I won't be taking down that video anytime soon. I used Ableton Live to write the music. Ableton is a fantastic workstation, but do I recommend it? No, not really. It's really expensive, and unless you know what you're getting into, I can't really recommend it. But if you're just starting out, they do have a 90-day free trial, and I would recommend getting that first. And again, if you're trying to make music for your own website or for a buddy's, you can always use one of these. Honestly, the microphones on phones nowadays, they sound incredible. Sometimes I just record guitar on these and they sound better than my own microphones. So don't feel discouraged. The biggest thing I learned from this project was the simplest solution is often the best one. You know, I spent a lot of time stressing out. Originally I wanted these full-length orchestrated soundtracks, and I knew with the time that I had, I wouldn't be able to complete it. But then I always remember why I was even inspired to do it in the first place. And I remember that Mega Man 2 is only 256 kilobytes in size. That's not a lot. The kick drum sample I used in the soundtrack alone is bigger than Mega Man 2. As to what I'm still curious about, I wonder what I would have done if I had more time. That sounds very existential crisis, but I would probably add more artwork. I can't add another boss because that would defeat the whole purpose of the game. I would probably add a small description for each boss. Maybe it's them saying a quote and it rhymes. I think that'd be really neat. But yeah, that's pretty much what I'm curious about. Anyways, thank you for watching my presentation. I really appreciate it. Have a good day.